Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and delighted to have in the studio. It's only appropriate that we have Nisha Jackson in the house on the first day of the new year, or at least the first working Monday of the new year, to get your New Year's resolutions in place. And I saw an article, Nisha, the number one thing is health, primarily weight loss.
Yes, of course.
The other thing I saw was kind of interesting, that over 60% of those who make a New Year's resolution will complete it. That's higher than I thought.
Well, you know, it kind of depends on what study you read, because most studies actually say about 47%.
There you go. Okay.
But a lot of it has to do with how you set the New Year's resolution in place. So that's what we're going to attack today.
All right, so we came out of the holidays, we gorged ourselves, we overdid it. I already saw people running the day after Christmas, which was interesting.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's earlier than normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, so...
well, definitely in the top 5 New Year's resolutions, year after year after year, in the top 5 always is get fit, get healthy, lose weight.
Okay.
So those are always in the top 5. And really, over the whole year, only 8% of the people that make resolutions keep them over the whole year.
Whoa.
But in the first 6 months, typically about 50% of the people keep their New Year's resolutions. In the first 90 days, about 75%. So it kind of depends on how long you get. So part of the strategy really is continuing to set up your resolutions, your plan for getting healthier and getting better and improving yourself, and reminding yourself throughout the year, setting up the plan now so that stays in place throughout the whole year. So you don't kind of just, you know, let it kind of wane out after the first 3 months.
So why does it fizzle? Why? I mean, it's serious stuff.
Right.
We know that we need to do it.
Right.
We know we feel better when we do. We know it's a healthy thing to do.
Yes.
But why do we fizzle?
Well, I think a lot of it is that it's the planning. Now, I want to back up and say that only 46% of people overall even make New Year's resolutions. So over half of the people in the U.S. had never make New Year's resolutions. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't make New Year's resolutions because nobody keeps them anyway, so why even do it? But one of the points I wanted to drive home today is that if you're not getting better or making an attempt to get better in all aspects of your life, you're going to get worse, right? Because nothing stays the same. So it is really important to make New Year's resolutions, and it doesn't have to be a New Year's resolution. It could just be a resolution to get healthier, get more fit, be more optimistic, whatever it might be less of a complainer, whatever it might be, but getting better. And so only half of the people actually make New Year's resolutions. So I do think it's important to make a New Year's resolution or a resolution to get better.
Do we take on too much too fast? Is that why we get discouraged?
I think we do, and I think the reason why not everybody makes New Year's resolution, and that number is actually going down, how many people actually make New Year's resolutions actually is going down. I think it's because, I actually think it's because we're too busy. Because to make a New Year's resolution, you have to put some thought into it, you have to be somewhat passionate about it, you have to make a plan, you've got to be somewhat accountable. It means that you're going to put yourself on the line a little bit, and I think people are just too busy to do it. If more than half of the people aren't doing it, then there's something wrong, right?
Well, I found out, and of course you helped me with this through the years, is that I go to the gym and I watch these guys think they're at a muscle farm, you know?
Yes.
And I thought, well, you're just doing too much.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just want to feel good.
They call that a violation of twos. Too much, too fast.
Yeah.
Right? They get in there and they just overdo it.
It's almost entertainment to watch it.
Especially the first 2 weeks. Actually, the percentage of New Year's resolutions that drop off even after the first 2 weeks is pretty significant. So, yes, too much too soon, like you said, is definitely a problem for people because they're just trying to attain too much too soon. So if you have 50 pounds to lose, you should set a goal to lose 10 pounds. And a lot of people can't even, you know, Americans are so good at like, you know, it's all or nothing. And so setting a goal of 10 pounds and making a reward after 10 pounds and then tackling the next 10 pounds is so much better than saying I need to lose 50 pounds. Because when you only see the scale moving 1 pound a week or 2 pounds a week, it's really discouraging. But over a year, you would lose 52 pounds, right? So it's important that you set goals that are easier to obtain, and that you actually start writing them down, because the planning of the goals is the key.
Okay. What should be the goal? Losing the weight or feeling better?
Well, both. I think it can be, I always think losing weight is important, because the bottom line is Americans are overweight. The vast majority of Americans are overweight. So we're eating too much food, even if we're eating the right food. Like, I see a lot of people eat the Mediterranean diet, which is an excellent diet, one that I really promote in my practice, is eating a little bit more protein, good carbohydrates, cutting out the white flour and the sugars, and eating whole grains, more beans, lentils, and so that's kind of the diet that I promote, but I see people overeating even on that diet. And even if you're eating good food and you're overeating, you're still going to gain weight. So I think losing weight is a good goal. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can identify how you should lose weight, how much weight you should lose. You could have a body fat test done to identify how many pounds of muscle you have versus how many pounds of fat you have, and really hone in on what's important for you to lose, because obviously we want to lose the fat. And then how you lose the weight is also very important. But I think the most important thing is you should lose weight to get down to the size that you feel comfortable. So I think it's really a combination of both, feeling better and losing weight, if you have weight to lose.
Okay. Yeah, that's the other one.
If you have weight to lose. Not everybody has weight to lose. Some people just are at an ideal body weight, but they're not at an ideal percentage of body fat. So some people have 50% body fat and weigh 120 pounds. That's not healthy. Fat is not healthy.
Okay.
So that might be the other problem for some people.
All right. Well, I want to have you just kind of help us lay out a plan, because I think a lot of people have good intentions, but we just need to get healthier. All you have to do is go to an international airport terminal, and you can pick the Americans out.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
My daughter just spent a whole semester in Berlin.
Yeah.
And we met in just right before Christmas. She came home and she said, Mom, it's so strange for me to see people that are overweight. She goes, I don't know in 4.5 months if I even saw one person that was overweight.
Right.
So it's true. Americans do have a problem in this area, and it's not getting better, and it's really moving into the children.
The other thing we need to take away is there's a lot of gimmick formulas and pills and plans and things. I have found that, guess what? It's work.
Yes.
But if you plan it, it's very successful.
Right, and sticking with it, I think that's the key. So we have to identify, there's so many books out there on change and how you can appropriately change, but we have to identify what works for us. Most people, like for me, I used to be so accountable on my own. I've talked about this before on the show. I would get up every day, 4:30, 5 o'clock, do my hour of exercise, no problem on my own. I'm not accountable to myself anymore. I have to have somebody show up and be texting me or calling me if I'm not there. So the accountability is really big, and that gets more predominant, I think, for most people as they get older. So finding a partner that's not a wishy-washy partner, somebody who's really into fitness or really into making you accountable, and wanting to have the same type of goals. So finding a partner, I think, is key, or even hiring a personal trainer that you meet with once a month or once a week or a couple times a week, depends on what you want to do. Somebody in your family that maybe you can be accountable with. I think somebody outside the family sometimes is a little bit more successful, because I think family members sometimes get together and say, oh, let's just forget it tonight, you know? So I think finding an outside person to be accountable and getting the support that you need is probably on the top of the list. And making attainable goals. Like I said, if you have 50 pounds to lose, attacking the first 10 and then deciding, okay, where do I want to go from here? Most people think they need to lose more weight than they do. Really? Most people that want to lose 50 pounds really only need to lose 30 to 35 pounds. Because if you lose it the right way and you lose fat, fat takes up twice the space as muscle. So your size changes faster if you're losing body fat, which is the key. And the way you want to lose body fat is you want to cut out the foods that are raising your blood sugar and raising your insulin, which is a fat storage hormone. And you want to be doing some type of cardio exercise, like getting your heart rate up. And that can be anything that you want to do to get your heart rate up for a minimum of 20 minutes, 6 days a week. I think it's better to do it every day of the week, but just because I think the consistency is important, but many people take 1 to 2 days off per week. If you're only exercising 3 days a week, you are not going to change your percentage of body fat, most likely, unless you've gone from doing absolutely nothing to doing 3 days a week, but that will only last for a while. So I recommend doing it more often. You'll stick with it longer if you're doing it more often. And then also the weight resistance training. We, as Americans, lose 3% of our body fat, 3% of our muscle mass after the age of 50 every year.
Whoa.
So what happens is that we don't replace the muscle with muscle, we replace the muscle with fat. So we actually become larger eating the same amount of food. So the only way we can get the muscle back on is not walking, and it's not cycling, it's actually doing some type of weight resistance exercise. Like sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, lunges, something at home, or some type of weight exercises.
So what I'm hearing you say here is that before we head out, before you run out and buy that gym membership and do all of that, all has its place, but have you put together a plan? Have you really sat down and say, wait a minute, what is it I want to accomplish here? Do I want to lose weight? Do I want to feel better? You may want to have your blood sugar checked. You may want to have all your hormones and thyroids checked. Right?
Right. Those all influence your ability to lose weight. And so if you feel like you've done a lot of those things in 2014, you've really worked at cutting out your foods that raise insulin and make you fatter, including the high carbohydrates, the high sugar, the high flour. If you've done all of those things and you've been exercising and you're not losing weight, there might be something else going on. So you're right. You should have those things checked. But also spelling out the details, and that's one thing I want to talk about today is spelling out the details.
We're going to have you do that. Let me take a quick break. Ventana Wellness, and check it out, ventanawellness.com. That's the website. It's a terrific resource. It's a clinic right here in Southern Oregon, and incredible staff there to help you with this. And she's going to give you the ABCs when we come back. Maybe even the CDEF. If you're just waking up, it's 2015, so if you didn't meet your New Year's resolution in 2014, don't worry about it. You got another year to give it a shot.
That's right. Exactly. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. On the last day of the year, I was telling people you have 12 hours to lose 20 pounds if you're going to meet your 2014 resolution. But there's another way to handle this. Nisha's here from Ventana Wellness, ventanawellness.com, a great resource and a great clinic. All right, so walk us through the ABCs. We know we want to do something, but let's start this thing right. What should we do?
Yes. Okay. First thing is to make attainable goals. So we talked about, don't go for the huge goal. You might want to say, I want to lose 50 pounds, but the plan should be, I want to focus on my first 10, or I want to lose 30 or 20 or whatever. I want to focus on my first 5 or 10. And how am I going to do that? What's my plan? What's my diet? What am I going to be on? There's lots of diets out there that people can be on. But make it something simple that you know that you and your family can do. And then the second thing is to make the goal include not only the dietary changes, but also the exercise changes, and have them written down. Now, most people just say, oh, I'm just going to try to eat less sugar and less flour or whatever, but they don't really have a plan written down. So writing it down is the key. Most people, they say half of the people who make New Year's resolutions actually don't even write them down. So that reduces the effectiveness of the goal significantly. So writing them down and having a plan is the most important. The other thing is managing your cravings, because the number one reason why people slip up and don't stay on a plan is they've not managed their cravings. Now, there's 3 things that can cause cravings to get the best of you. One of them is low blood sugar. So if you've gone more than 4 to 5 hours without eating and your blood sugar's dropped, I promise you, your brain will not scream broccoli, it's going to scream chocolate or sugar or something sweet. So, and it usually is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So managing those cravings, what is my plan when I get to that point, and what are my triggers? Do I get so stressed out by 3 o'clock in the afternoon that I end up having a latte and a cookie every single day? Is that what I go for? Or do I have a snack, a sugary snack every night after dinner because I've waited all day to eat and then I can't eat enough at dinner time, like I can't quite catch up with my blood sugar? What are my triggers? And then managing those cravings. The other reason why people have cravings is that their fluid intake is too little. So not drinking enough water during the day actually can set the sugar cravings and the salt cravings up. So if you find yourself going for those potato chips instead of the sugar, it might be that you're dehydrated. And then, of course, the third thing is stress. Stress causes your body to make more adrenaline, and more adrenaline and cortisol causes your blood sugar to plummet. When your blood sugar plummets, again, you want more sugar. So managing those cravings, I think, is really, really important. We've talked about this before, and that's controlling your environment. if you have food in your house that you cannot have on the plan that you're on,
get rid of
then
it.
you shouldn't have it in your house.
Yeah.
And nobody in your house needs it. So, and that includes your children who don't have a weight problem. If they don't have a weight problem, they still don't need the food. It's not good for them. It reduces their immune system. They'll get sick more often. Eventually, they will be fat if they're eating these kinds of foods. So get them out of your house and replace them. So I always say, if you have a bad habit that you're doing, make sure you always replace it with a good habit. Don't just get rid of the food and not replace it with good food. Put the foods in your pantry and in your cupboards that are good foods.
Does that include the butter caramel almond cookies from Trader Joe's?
Yes, absolutely. Ooh, that sounds good. My mouth is watering.
You can't eat one.
But I think it is important to reward yourself because we're kind of a reward society.
Okay.
We really are. So I think rewarding yourself is important. When I lose my first 5 pounds or when I lose my first 10 pounds, we should say to ourselves, what am I going to give myself?
Yeah.
What is the reward? And then the other thing I want to just mention too, and this is something I constantly try to get into my head, is that this is just the way it is. I realized this when I was sitting with my 94-year-old grandmother and my mother and my daughter, so 4 generations sitting at a table, and my grandmother says, I have got to get this 5 pounds off. I've got to get my eating under control, and I've got to get this 5 pounds off. I mean, she's very health conscious.
Yeah.
And my younger daughter said, are you kidding me? You're 94 and you're still worrying about the 5 pounds you need to get off or you need to get back on your healthy eating. So it's just a reminder that this is just the way it is. Because if we're not conscious about what we're doing, we are getting worse, right? So it should be part of our lifestyle that we're very conscious about our diet. We're very conscious about the way we exercise and the way we keep our body fit. Because if we're not, we're getting worse. So that should last your whole life. Because there are many people, Perry, I know you've heard them say, oh, I don't believe in diets.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on any kind of plan. You know, nobody sticks with it.
Right.
They never work. It's not true. Because if you're not doing that, you're probably not going to continue to improve yourself, which we need to do.
Well, I can tell you, there's an old saying, in fact, Patrick Doyle will tell you this, the only 2 things that will make you change is inspiration or desperation.
Yes, exactly.
So I would encourage you to get this inspired before you become desperate.
Yes.
You know, so if you're inspired to do it, you're going to stick with it. If you're desperate, you're going to panic.
Right. And just know, I learned this many years ago when I started my practice in 1995. Dr. Barry Sears, who is still so well known for all of his work in the area of insulin and blood sugar, and he's come out with new books. I love his information on weight loss and also blood sugar balance and insulin control. He said, you're only as good as your last meal, which is so true. So if you completely blew it at lunch, let's say you went out to lunch with a friend, you just started your diet, your good eating plan and your exercise plan, and you're on track, and you went out to lunch and you decided to have chocolate dessert after lunch, and you're so mad at yourself. You're only as good as your last meal. It doesn't mean you have to wait till the next Monday to start again.
Yeah.
You just go right to your next meal and you clean it up. So dealing with setbacks is really important because, again, we're an all or nothing society, and we want to just throw in the towel the first time we have sugar or the first time we have a dessert or something that we shouldn't have.
All right, so write your plan down. Plan your work your plan. That's the old saying in business.
Get support.
Okay, get support. Fluid.
Yes.
Water, I guess.
So if you're hungry at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you've had a good lunch and you know it's not time for your afternoon snack yet, let's just say this is hypothetically this is the issue.
Just want you to know it's water.
Hey, I have tea today.
I got water.
Is drink a full glass of water. Most of the time, if you drink a full glass of water, and this is an important thing to do even before meals, is to drink a full glass of water. Chances are you'll eat less at the next meal, and chances are in the afternoon, if you know your blood sugar shouldn't be plummeting, a full glass of water will actually curb the problem of having cravings or even feeling tired and headachy. So I think adding a full glass of water, 8 glasses of water a day is really important. People do not drink enough water in the winter. They just don't. They don't want it. It's cold. But again, you can have tea. There's some wonderful teas out there. I love licorice root tea, green tea. Licorice root tea is very good for stress, by the way. Most people don't know that. It doesn't taste like licorice, but it's very good for the adrenal glands.
Okay.
So 8 glasses of water a day is very important, however you get that.
All right, stress. Probably the number one reason. Well, I would say stress and sugar is probably what puts the pounds on.
Yes. Stress and sugar, and also I think not having a plan, as we've talked before, and not having somebody to be accountable to. Now, if you really want to go to the highest level of accountability, your friend or your partner, or whoever you've decided the person that's going to be checking on you, should be watching you weigh yourself. Now, that is the highest level of accountability, highest level of humiliation.
How about honesty?
Is to have somebody weigh you, and or be checking in with you. And so, and I would set that up. I would say the first Tuesday of every week, or the second and fourth Tuesday. I would never make it a Monday. Mondays are not a good day to weigh in. Period. Or Wednesday. You could say Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm gonna have somebody weigh me on this day. And there are many people out there, Perry, that don't believe in weighing in. But the problem is we're too heavy. And so we should be weighing. We should have some measurement of what we're trying to achieve. And then sticking with it, saying, okay, in the month of January, this is my goal. February, all the way through the end of the year. By the end of the year, we should get to the point where we say, okay, this is what we've done this year. We shouldn't, most people at the end of the year, they can't even remember what their New Year's resolution was last year, except for they can kind of guess it was probably weight loss and more exercise. But writing it down and keeping with it every single month is very, very important.
Wow. Is there a time to do this better than another? I mean, I see, the gym will load up before work and load up after work. When's a good time to work out?
If you have trouble sleeping, you probably shouldn't be exercising at night. Because what exercise does is it kind of gets your body prepared to be on alert, awake, and energized for the day. So really the best time to exercise is first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. You'll burn 200% more calories if you exercise first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Now, not everybody can do it on an empty stomach. Some people have to have a little bit of snack just to kind of maintain their blood sugar. But most people have so many carbohydrates stored in their liver from eating that they can make it through a workout on an empty stomach. You will burn more fat if you exercise on an empty stomach. Weight resistance training actually works a little bit better if you have some carbohydrate on board. You'll actually be able to build muscle better with some carbohydrate and protein. But exercising in the evening, I'm careful about saying all this because if it's the only time you can exercise, it's still very, very important. And if you don't have any trouble sleeping, some people actually sleep better when they exercise in the evening. But do it when you can do it and when it fits into your schedule and that when you can stick with it. I just find over the years of working with men and women on their weight that once the day gets started, there's so many distractions and there's so many excuses that it's hard to say, after work, I'm going to put my tennis shoes on and go to the gym. Okay. So many people just don't follow through.
Now, you have a nutritionist on staff at Ventana.
Yes.
So they can help people line this out. Should they see you before they start? I mean, should you have a blood test or should they be checked out before they get on some kind of a rigorous program?
I think so. No matter what your diagnosis is, a good eating plan and a good exercise plan is going to help you. But if you feel that there is some obstacle to losing weight and becoming fit and building muscle, it could be that the testosterone's too low, the estrogen's too high, the thyroid's too low. There's other hormone levels that can interfere with your body's ability to be more metabolically active. But I think having a plan and getting tested is important, but everybody would benefit from changing their diet and exercising across the board.
There you go. No excuses. You've heard it here. And I would suggest you download this program again this afternoon. It'll be on the Dove website and watch it again and again and again.
And don't forget, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Yeah, that's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yes. Every day you should be conscious about what you're doing.
Okay, and look, I think I want to take the guilt out of doing this. It actually can be fun and very challenging and very rewarding if you sit down and plan it out and do it in increments.
Yes.
And that's where
every month.
That's where Nisha and her team come in. VentanaWellness.com, or just give them a call at the clinic and make an appointment and get in and get started. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And
Happy New Year.
So Happy New Year. And your New Year's resolution is?
Oh, my resolutions are always the same. Try to work a little bit less, enjoy life more, and keep doing the right things.
2 out of 3 is not bad. All right, we'll be right back.